Hello and welcome to Discover Your Roots, your weekly masterclasses. In this masterclass, I'm going to cover some strategies for you to find your records for your ancestors, analyze them, and store them safely. Let's have a look. So today's masterclass number 3 is all about finding ancestral records, how to analyze them, and how to store and preserve those records. So today I'm going to demonstrate how you do your record searching in FindMyPast, and I'll demonstrate how you can make a simple record storage for those records in PowerPoint. And I'm suggesting that your project work for this week could include to select one of your family groups that you've been building your family tree with, select one ancestor to research and find vital records, census, military and other records for them, and store them either in a PowerPoint or just in your files on your computer. So there are several records that we're going to have a look at today, and they'll include vital records such as birth, marriage and death, parish records, also for baptisms and marriages and burials, military records, which may include the time the soldier or sailor or airman served in the world wars and any medals, and also a focus briefly on newspaper records and what they might bring up for your ancestors. So in FindMyPast, there are several ways that you can research to find these records. So I'm going to show you 3 of those. The person research function, how to use the research categories, and how to use the advanced research fields, and then how to record your findings. So that is the plan for today. I'm focusing in on my Allery tree, which includes one of my great-grandparents, Eliza Wright, who was born Eliza Goetz. And in this record, I have brought up a 1911 census, which was in one of the hints for this person. And it hadn't occurred to me that that spelling of her name, E.L. Eliza Wright, could be her. But in looking at the address, 78 Let Road, Stratford, I knew that this was the right person from the other research that I had done. So the reason I'm coming in here right into the middle of this whole research is to show you what I do to record what I'm finding and then to store it somewhere else. So coming into a record like this means that I can then view the transcript. I can update this person with the information, the new information that's stored here, which in this case is all about her occupation, washing at home. And I'm interested in that to see what that involved, although it sounds fairly obvious. So I went to view transcript, and this is what it shows me. This is actually the transcript that the enumerator has done, or the transcriber has done, I should say. So at this stage, Eliza is the head of the household, and she and her son, Herbert Edward, single male, 34 years old, are living at 78 Let Road, Stratford East, West Ham. And it's highlighted her information there for me. At this point, she was aged 66, and there's her occupation, washing at home. When I scroll down to look at the complete transcript of Eliza's record, I can see further details that I might find useful. or at least we'll ask questions to lead to the next point. And as I began to scroll even further, it came up with this one that I'd not seen before. For the occupation of washing at home, there are 34 people nearby who have the same occupation. So I can see who they were. I'm just opening up a fresh tab for this one. And these are people living near Eliza in that district who had the same occupation. So quite a number of women who were taking in washing, which would be quite common during that particular era. And we're talking 1911. So coming back to this record that we're showing the transcript, one of the things that I do next is I copy that information to the clipboard, which gives me a copy of this section. I can then paste that into, in my case, the Eliza Goats Evernote note. And I'll just pop over there and put in place the information from the 1911 census. And I'm just pasting with a Control-V. So I'm recording all of the information I've found from the vital records, the census, and hopefully we'll find the records for her death. And I'm storing all that on this page in the Evernote notes for Eliza Goats, my paternal great-grandmother. So it's one way that you can record as you go. So you just come from one page, copy the clipboard and paste it into your Evernote note. You could do the same if it was in a document in Google. That would be fine. The next step, when I come back to this point here, is I now want to update this person. So I do that next, and I choose the things that I want or to keep. For example, if I didn't want to record that E.L. Eliza, I could reverse it like so. And everything else is in place. And the final thing to do is to save the changes to the tree. And that means the research that I've done is now recorded, and it's also added information to the database in my family tree for that ancestor. And all of that came from one of these hints. So that is one way that you can find records for your ancestors in FindMyPast. The other family tree databases have something similar, not always called hints, but they do have an artificial intelligence behind the database that looks for and brings up possible matches for you. The next thing that I want to do is to show you how to find vital records for an ancestor by using several methods. And I'm now going to focus on Eliza's mother, Sarah. And this is my new focus for this week, for my ancestor to write up the story. So you can see here that I've got some information. She was born in 1814, died in 1879, and at present there are 6 hints for her. So first of all, select Sarah, and then go to view her full profile. And just wait for the internet to catch up. Probably got too many windows open today. And here is the information that I already have for Sarah. That she was born in 1814 in Sawbridgeworth, Hertfordshire. And underneath each of these pieces, notice that FindMyPast gives you a clickable link to search for the records about that particular event. So the birth of their daughter and another birth here. But we haven't yet found a marriage record. So there's something missing between 1815 and 1838. So let's first of all use this process to search for a birth record because we need that to verify that that date is correct. Unfortunately, it has brought up no results. Now, that can be quite daunting at first. You think, oh, now what do I do? So one of the things that you can do is broaden your search or change some of the details slightly so that you can be more assured of finding the right information. We don't know for sure that her birthplace was Sawbridge Worth, so let's take that out. Still nothing. So we will now go to advanced options. And at this point, we can put in some further statistics, such as where in the world. Let's put in England. We know that that's correct. Still no results. And we're looking at civil births, so maybe we need to look for parish baptisms. So we click on the parish baptisms. And looks like we've got one result here. You can see it down here. Not sure that that's right yet, so let's click on it to view it. This one looks to be correct. It's still saying Hertfordshire. This time it's a baptism, not a civil record, and it's at Sawbridge Worth in England. And as you can see, I've already had a look at this record in advance. So when I click on it, I can see some details about her baptism. Father's name, William. He was a labourer. Mother's name, Louisa. That sounds right. According to some of the records that I have previously looked up for this particular family group, I know that for this person, Sarah Lagden, just looking into my book now to see that I've got her records here. And William is her father's name, and Louisa Fear is her mother's name. So that looks to me to be correct. I have done previous research on this, but I've not had the record to prove it. So this should do the job. So I'll scroll a little further and see what else it has to say. Not a great deal, just typical things about baptisms. And now I will do as I did before. I will copy to the clipboard. So that's now copied. I go over to my Evernote and I have a note for Sarah already here and a heading. So I'll just paste that information in place and highlight some pieces that I need to know, such as father's name and mother's name. So it makes it easier for when I come and go to look at this record. But coming back along here to this record, all of that sounds good. And now I need to add it to the tree, or I can go immediately to the view the original record. Let's have a look at that. In some cases, when you're looking at these parish records, you'll find the handwritten information in old baptism record books like this one. And here we can see Sarah. Just expand that for you. She is the second listed here, baptized on the 17th, and we're talking 1815. And Father William, Mother Louisa, labourer from Hertfordshire. So that is correct. So now what I do is I store that record by downloading it from here and placing it into my computer files. We don't have one for her yet, so I'll build it in here and we'll call it the Sarah Langdon file. And the name of the image refers to where it was found in the Hertfordshire records, but I need to identify it for my records. So this is the baptism of Sarah Langdon, 1815. So coming back to where I was before, I have now looked at the transcript, looked at the actual, and now I want to add it. So we haven't done that yet. I don't think I did. No, we need to add it to the tree. And it's asking me which person. So I'll say Sarah. There we go. And continue. And that means that information has now been added to her record, which will now include her father's name and her mother's name, which is an important next step for the process for you building that out. So here's the record again. And now we can update this information to include her parents. So yes, we want to update this person and this person and save the changes to the tree. And now that we have that record safely recorded and added to the tree for Sarah Langdon, I'll go back and see what else we can find to continue finding her records. So back here on FindMyPast, I'm on the Sarah Langdon page, and there are further hints here for me. I often avoid the members tree one in case there's some errors in other people's trees. Occasionally they can provide useful information to look at, but I've fallen into that trap a few times. So let's go down to other records here, and I'm particularly interested in her marriage record, which is another parish record. And there's a burial record for her as well. Two different ones. This one is not correct because her birthplace is not Hockerell. Her birthplace is Bishop Stortford. So these two are correct. So I review them, and that brings me to the page where I can say yes, this is correct and carry on. Spouse is Joshua, yes. And now I have a marriage date, and I have a place, St. Michael's, Bishop Stortford. And this is the exciting part of your discovery. So we say yes, next step. All right, after a few seconds, it actually finished doing that, and you're presented with this next page. And we go through the steps again, view the transcript. And FindMyPast always opens up a new tab when you click on view the transcript. That's why I end up with too many tabs open. So here is the record of the marriage for Sarah, married to Joshua Goetz. So once again, I copy to the clipboard, come over to Evernote, and put that information in place for her marriage. On the 12th of June, 1836. Beauty of Evernote is you don't have to then click save anywhere. It automatically is saved, and it synchronizes so that if I look at this set of records on my iPad, it's all still in place. Come back to where I was, and we now want to add to the tree. Putting in her name again. There we go. Continue. And tells me that that record has now been added to that person. And here we can update some information. So we update Joshua's information, or at least the marriage details, for 12th of June, 1836, and save the changes to the tree. And there's the marriage details for 1836. We've filled in that little gap that we had before, which was the object of today's record searching. Now I'm going to move on to search for some census records and to show you a different way to drill down in FindMyPast to find those census. So I'm back here with Sarah Lagden, and I want to now search using the search field here under census and land and surveys. When I do that, it brings me to a page where I can fill in the names that I'm looking for, and this time I'm going to put in her husband's name. It's more likely to find that census, given that he would be the head of the household. Joshua Goetz. And the year I'm looking for is 1851. And this will be in England. And it looks like it's found one result there. I didn't have to drill down too far. So one result for the 1851 census for Joshua Goetz. And here it is, year of birth, 1815, sounds correct. And as you can see, I've already had a quick look at that. So let's go into the transcript first of all and follow the steps that we have done before. Now this is a census record, so the transcript looks a little different, with the head of the household, Joshua, his wife, Sarah, and their children, Marianne and Eliza. And it's Eliza, who I had been focusing on prior to Sarah. And in the household with them is Samuel Johnson, a nephew. So actually a cousin for Eliza and Marianne. So the first thing to do is copy to the clipboard and place it in Evernote for Joshua Goetz, my paternal great-great-grandfather, and paste it in place.